with the Darigold Recruitment Project at the Port of Pasco. So the award winner for this is the Port of Pasco for the Recruitment Project of the Year, and Stephen McFadden will come up and accept the award. Stephen.
Hi everyone, and thank you so very, very much. I should tell you that I didn't start out my professional life as an economic developer. I was a journalist for 28 years. I got involved in economic development, helping Adams County establish an ADO, served as the charter chair of that organization, and promptly went back to being a publisher of a community newspaper. 2014, I joined economic development. And this room has been my mentor. One of my mentors was Dave McFadden from the Port of Seattle. And Dave said, economic development is a long game. Last night at our pre-event dinner, there was a discussion along that very theme, that economic development is very much like a marathon with a whole bunch of sprints. And I can tell you that we have been in a marathon with Darigold for 33 months. I also want to acknowledge a really good friend of mine, Gary Blue. Gary's not with us today, but he brings a lot of charisma to this room. Gary actually started this site selection process for Darigold in the Port of Pasco. And when he joined GSI in Spokane, they handed the baton to me, and I've had a great opportunity to do this project. But we couldn't do it without partnerships. That's what I'd like to share with you today. If the slide will move. Okay. There we go. First off, these are our elected port commissioners, Vicki Gordon, Dean Reichman, Jim Clenworth. They're the ones that give us the power of staff to do the kind of work we do and the latitude to really put in the time and the effort on a big lift project like Darigold. Sensitive, but then not.
Trying. Sorry.
You're good.
There we go.
One more time. The port purchased the Ryman Industrial Center in the fall of 2019, and in order to do that, they actually took a loan from the Hanford Area Economic Development Investment Fund to acquire those 300 acres. As you can see, a $6.5 million acquisition. They did an engineering master plan that said it would take us 15 to 20 years to develop that 300 acres because of its location and how much infrastructure it needs. So Darigold became a different reality. They notified the Port of Pasco that they were interested in the Ryman, that they would need a minimum of 150 of those 300 acres, but that we needed to compete. They had selected 44 locations in 3 different states. We went through numbers of rounds of eliminators. Ultimately, there were 3 of us left. Those 3 were won in each of 3 states, Idaho, Washington, and Oregon. And infrastructure was going to be the big lift. This was not a small project, so we needed all of our partners. And this list is not exhaustive, but is pretty close. Tridec, along the way, our ADO, every step of the way in the site selection process. The city of Pasco, also at the table. Franklin County at the table, Cascade Natural Gas, Franklin PUD, and when it really mattered, the Washington State Department of Commerce and the Washington State Legislature and they delivered a major lift for us in terms of $7.5 million in funding for us to build the kinds of infrastructure that we needed for this project. And if you see that critical infrastructure need, 14 megawatts of power, 1.5 million gallons of wastewater treatment, processed wastewater treatment, 700,000 gallons of fresh water a day, high volume natural gas, truck and rail service. It's gonna be 150 trucks a day over a 24-hour period of fresh, unprocessed milk coming into this facility. That's the wrong button. One more time. So, what did this 33-month journey get us? A $650 million investment by Dairy Gold now, the oldest dairy processor in the Pacific Northwest. They will construct a 350,000 square foot facility at the Run Industrial Center, creating 220 jobs on site and additional 500 jobs in the dairy operations in Eastern Washington. In addition to that, they brought a partner with them, but we didn't know this during the site selection phase. They brought a warehousing and cold storage partner who's going to construct a 400,000 square foot, $200 million project attached to the Dairy Gold facility. So right at about an $850 million project. We were looking at $27 million in public infrastructure. And the way that we were able to put that together was because of all of those partners. Port Cast, $2.5 million. Another $2.3 million in the .09 fund over 2 funding cycles to demonstrate just how important that .09 money is. Washington State Direct Appropriation, 7.5. The State Curb Board, $575,000 loan. And Port Pasco is the first to be able to use tax increment financing. We created a TIF area specific to Dairy Gold. And based on very conservative numbers, we believe the assessor's gonna value this project at somewhere between $400 and $500 million. And we built a bonding measure using a $200 million assessment. Our goal is to pay that bonding off in a big hurry so we can get to work on our next project. If I leave you with anything, you have to be partners with your neighbors. You have to believe that it's important to work together. We would not have this project coming to Pasco if we didn't have partners and they weren't there every day. Thank you again very much for the support.